Patricia Polacco is an amazing author and illustrator. She has written and illustrated over 115 books in her life, and she didn't start writing until the age of 41. Patricia was born on July 11th, 1944, and her parents are the descendants of Russia, the Ukraine, and the country of Limerick in Ireland. And because her parents are from there, they told a lot of stories to Patricia. Those stories were based on the history of their family. And so since she heard a lot of stories, she was so inspired to write children's books about the history that she had with her family. She also loved to illustrate different things. She has always loved art since she was very small. And she has two children that live in California, but she doesn't live there. She lives in Union City, Michigan, on a farm. And that's where she was, close to where she was born in Lansing, Michigan. Like I said, she has written over 115 books. Some of the books that she has written are Rechenka's Eggs, Pink and Say, and Chicken Sunday. They have also received awards for her books, and her awards are dated from 1988 to 2016, so she has a lot of different awards. One of the awards that I wanted to address was the Golden Kite Award. She got this in 1992 for Chicken Sunday. She has created an art camp in Russia for children, and it still exists today. It's a big thing in Russia. She also has an anti-bullying campaign that she did for children because she's a big advocate for children. She is, it's called an international Advocate for the Rights of Children is what it's called. So she advocates for children a lot. She has also created literary and art courses for people to take here in the United States and internationally. She loves illustrating her own books, and so she uses colored pencils. She uses Pentel markers, which is like a colored pen like marker type mixture, and she used acrylics as well for them. She does not like airlines at all, so she would rather travel by car or by train. And she likes to travel to be a guest speaker at different schools throughout the United States. You can find a list of her awards on www.patriciapolacco.com. It gives a lot of information about her, but it gives a list of all of the awards that she has received, and it gives a list of her books. So if you're interested in another book, you can find it there. Patricia was born in Lansing, Michigan on July 11th, 1944. Her parents are from the Ukraine, Russia, and the country of Limerick. She has accomplished a lot of different things in her life that she has been recognized for. She has written over 115 books since the age of 41. So she was a bit older before she started writing, but she absolutely loves writing books. The one book that I am going to read from Patricia Polacco is called Rechenka's Eggs. And here it is right here. There's some beautiful pictures in this book. Babushka lived alone in a doshka, a little house in the country, but she was known far and wide for the fine eggs that she lovingly painted. Her eggs were so beautiful that she always won first prize at the Easter festival in Moscow. Each day Babushka would take the shell of an egg from her basket and paint it in wonderful designs, using the shapes of stars and flowers, triangles and circles. Through the long, cold winter, Babushka painted. Then one day after a snowstorm, Babushka went outside. She could still hear the faint sound of falling snow. It was a sound like soft rain. Herds of caribou came to feed at Babushka's because the grasses they usually ate were covered with snow. "A miracle," she whispered as she fed some. "These wild things have found their way to me." Just then a flock of noisy geese honked loudly overhead. As they glided over the snow, one of them faltered and fell from the sky. Babushka went to where the goose lay crumbled in the snow. "A hunter did this," Babushka grumbled. She carefully picked up the goose and took it back to her little house. There she fed the little goose from her own table and put the goose in her best basket lined with the warmest quilt from her own bed. "I shall name you a good name, one that we both can like, my little friend?" she said as she patted the goose's head. "How do you like Rechenka?" "Yes, then Rechenka it shall be." With Babushka's care, Rechenka grew stronger as each day passed. To repay her kindness, Rechenka laid an egg for breakfast every morning. As Rechenka got better, she waddled around the little house, exploring every nook, cupboard, and corner. One day she jumped on top of Babushka's work table, overturning the jars of bright-colored paint that she used to color the eggs. "Nit!" Babushka screamed as she chased the goose with a broom. "No!" The frightened goose flapped her wings to get away and knocked over the basket of eggs that Babushka had so lovingly painted. The eggs crashed onto the floor and shattered into millions of pieces. They were both very sad. There was no reason now for Babushka to go to the festival. The next morning, Babushka slowly got out of bed and trundled over to Rechenka's basket to get her morning egg. But when she reached into the middle of the quilt, she picked out the most brilliantly colored egg that she had ever seen. "A miracle," Babushka whispered. "A miracle!" She made small holes at both ends of the egg and blew the yolk and white into a dish to cook and eat later for breakfast. Then she held the egg up to the morning light and marveled at its beauty. After that, every morning for 12 mornings, there was another egg, each more beautiful than the one laid the day before. Soon Babushka had enough eggs to take to the festival in Moscow. How wonderful, she thought. A miracle has replaced the eggs that were broken. "Spring is here, my little friend," Babushka said to Rechenka the morning of the festival. "Soon now you will be flying off to the north with your flock." She bustled to the hearth fire and brewed some of her most favorite tea. The two shared a saucer of tea with kalish, a sweet Easter bread. She covered each piece with bashka, a spread of cheese, butter, and raisins. They savored each bite together. "One for you, one for me," Babushka chanted. "Ta-da, my little friend! I shall sorely miss you, but you are a wild thing, and a miracle sent you to me. It would not be right to ask you to stay here with me forever." When Babushka left her little house, she took one last look at Rechenka sitting on the doorstep. She waved and took determined steps for Moscow with a basket of her precious eggs. She crossed Lepetov Valley where the caribou mothers were walking their newborn calves. A miracle, she thought. New little lives, a miracle. She crossed the bridge over the Moskva River, and soon she could see the onion domes of old Moskva. The festival was bright and exciting. There were goat carts selling kalish, processions, dancers, jugglers, and laughing children playing and running. Babushka showed her old friends the eggs. Her eggs are the most beautiful in all of Russia, they thought. "Look at them," the others said. "They almost glow as if the paint is part of the shell itself." The judges picked Babushka's eggs as the most beautiful. Babushka was so happy she beamed as she looked at the first prize, a feather bed quilt. As Babushka made her way homeward, a honking flock of geese flew overhead. Babushka gave them a long, lingering look. She wondered if Rechenka was one of them. When Babushka arrived at her home that evening, Rechenka was gone. Alone, she put the new quilt on her little bed, and she brewed a cup of tea and ate the last of the Kolishka and Pashka, got into bed with her favorite book of poems, and drifted off to sleep. She hadn't noticed Rechenka's basket. But that night, Babushka was awakened from a sound sleep by an ever so small sound. It was coming from Rechenka's basket. She hobbled closer and saw a glorious egg, but this one was different from all of the others. It quivered and moved and made tiny muffled sounds. The egg jumped, bumped, rolled, and pitched in the basket. Then there was a crack, and Babushka could see the very special gift that Rechenka had left for her. "All a miracle," Babushka said, and this little goose remained with Babushka always. I decided to do a Jeopardy game on Rechenka's eggs. Since that was the book that I read, I thought it would be fun to read with students and do a little Jeopardy game with. And I will put my URL for my Jeopardy game on the discussion board. Thank you.